welcome to another Percy Jackson and the Olympians review. This is season 1, episode 7. Um, yeah. Also, of course, spoilers for the entire Percy Jackson series if you haven't read the books and don't want to be spoiled. Yeah, come back once you've either read the books or the full series is done. I'll still be right here. So without further ado, we start with Krusty's. So we get Krusty's where there's a waterbed store, which is in the book where they go, but they just wander in because some kids come and chase them and then try and stab them. But only Percy comes in, so I was like, where's Annabeth and Grover? But the music for that is it sounds like store music to me. It really does. And of course, Percy's immediately like, I know who you are. You're Procrustes. Here's your myth, blah, 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 blah. And explains what the myth is. And it's just like, can you please? They did this so much in season 1 where it's just, where we don't get, for the most part, we don't get much suspense in figuring out. Oh, that's who this creature is. It's pretty instant that they figure this out, which, can you please just take some time to figure out. Please just give them some time to figure out. For this, after watching this, kind of makes sense why they would know Procrustes. However, it still stands. I really hope that's something they change in season 2, where they give people more chance to figure out, oh, that's who this person is. It's a little bit more suspenseful, because it's not to the point where I get, with the exception of the Aries and Echidna revealed, the other two have just felt like they shouldn't have been figured out as quickly, not as revealing. And I really hope they change that come season 2 and do that for the future seasons. That would be great. Right? And then of course, we find out that Percy is like, oh, so I know you're guarding an entrance to the Underworld, which I'm confused why they decide to give him a position to guard the Underworld. Well, not sure why they decided to do that, but whatever, it's not too big of a thing. Too big of a thing. And then I wrote, also, how did they know that he guarded? But then I realized after this, oh, right, Hermes gave them the letter telling them, here's the passage to the Underworld. Well, I was really worried that we wouldn't see Chiron. I think, I know it's not Chiron, so I think it's Chiron. When it's the fairy of the Underworld, because I was like, that's a shame. But I will admit, I would have very much liked to have, like, it's under DOA record company, so I think it would have been really cool to have seen this Underworld. Go to the record company and this Underworld. That would be great. Great to see, but this isn't a huge big deal. That's just something where seeing them go to a record shop would have been funny, especially because you could DOA, Dead on Arrival. Sorry, that's a musical reference. Anyway, yeah, so of course we get a flashback of Percy and his mom being angry about fighting about Percy going to a new school. Well, of course, I love the transition of Percy opening the car door to Grover closing the trap door on the Underworld. Really great with ins and outs or similar movements of switching. Well done. I really like that. And I said this twice in my notes how much I love the Underworld. The first time I said Underworld looks sick. And then the second time I put Underworld still looks sick. I have two things about how the Underworld looks, and then I have another thing about I love the look of Hades' palace. It's great. Right, of course, Grover, as they're traveling through, he's squeezing the red rubber ball he uses fetch as like a stress ball, to the point where Annabeth is like, how about I hold that? That way you don't make any noise and draw away your position. And of course, they see Kieran, and they start pushing their way for the dead, heading on the boat. And as they're doing that, there's like this elevator music playing, which is definitely a reference to, definitely gotta be a book reference where Eric made it be, but oh yeah, they went into an elevator, and then that transition into a boat. I really like, so it's a nice reference, which I do like that kind of is creepy, but I think it would have been nice for him, for his Italian suits. Like, it's of him. Because his whole thing is, oh, I really like Italian suits, and I don't have enough money to pay for them, which, that's a minor, which they didn't have to go with him, like, oh, tell Hades to give me a raise sort of thing. I just think it would have been nice to have him be in Italian suits. Be like, have him still have him be in an Italian suit, but then have like this cloak covering him, and sort of like that Greek but modern vibe as well. But back and forth. Cerberus was great. It was awesome. That was really cool. Of course, Cerberus is chasing them, they run away, and then Annabeth manages to calm them down and get them away and whatnot, and they make the obedience school reference in there. It's great. Right, and then I must have missed this because I did not remember the dog eating Grover at all, but we see the dog spitting out Grover, so I was like, I guess the dog ate Grover. And of course, after they get up there, we find out that, oh, Grover lost the pearl in the dog, I'm still not sure how I feel about the four. I think after hearing about, like, the four pearls is a, for which make Poseidon a little bit more understanding about him trying to save Sally, which I get. I'm now fine with there being four pearls. However, I'm not sure if you should have. I think it would have been more emotional if Percy had lost a pearl and then he has to decide whether to save himself or his mom, instead of him choosing to save his mom or Grover, or to just stay here, sort of thing. And so I'm still not. This still bugs me. I feel like And here's the thing, Grover, in the show, Grover seems so much less capable in this book than in this series than he does in the book. I'm not saying he's not, like, he's not as messing everything up as it seems to be in the show. Sort of things like with Medusa, whose fight was way too short. That's another pet peeve of mine. They've been doing the episodes way too short. Or he keeps her distracted with the shoes long enough for Percy to cut off Medusa. And so, well, still it being slightly a goof. So I feel like we should have had more of that. And then I feel like they're just making Grover butt of not the butt of the jokes, but like they're just making Grover seem not as capable as he could be. I'm sure. I just hope the future seasons we see him being a lot more capable than he was in this series. And we see him step into his own more, because he still does that in the books, but I feel like they just slimmed down his effectiveness more. But I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. No, but I feel like he was more capable in the books than he is in the show. Maybe I'm just misremembering things, or maybe Percy's narration in the books is just making it to sound cooler. I don't know. So of course we continue the flashback of Percy and his mom dealing with him going away and whatnot, which is very sad and emotional. Oh, and of course, then we go back to the, yeah, he asks, like, if you love me, why do you push me away? Which is sad, because she wants to keep you, but she knows she has to send you away. Percy, it's so sad. And here's the thing, they go into the fields of Asphodel, and they see people starting to, like, become rude and start to turn into trees. And is that a part of Greek mythology, or is that something they just made up? But I'm honestly not sure. But Annabeth so turning and gets rooted down because she has some sort of regret, which I think, but if this is something they made up, I think that they made this up so that way they could, sort of foreshadow that Annabeth wishes she could. I think her lingering regret is that she and her family didn't get along as much as she would have liked, and I think that's going to foreshadow her going to her parents, her dad and her stepmoms, and giving it another shot once again. Again, in episode 8, like it is at the end of the book, so if that's why they made that up, that's fine. But I was wondering, before the end of the episode happens, like, if they're living at different times, how are they going to get together after the Underworld night? And then, of course, it's revealed that, Annabeth was just waiting for them on the shore, then they appeared. And we get the shoes dragging Grover in, and then, of course, they realize, we have Zeus's lightning bolt, instead of waiting until Hades gets there. I was like, wait, they didn't even wait? But then I realized, but then, of course, they're like, we're still gonna go to his mom, and they realize, we have the boat. bolt sort of thing, and they keep in the boat and get his mom still because Percy wants to save her, which, yeah, I was a bit confused why they were doing it, but this works out fine. It doesn't matter as much to me. Doesn't bug me. That's a perfectly fine change from the books where instead Hades is like, oh yeah, what's that in your backpack? And then he finds out, wait, I didn't steal this. To get more, sorry, the why do you keep sending me away is the next scene after that. Before it was his mom struggling to get him into school. Well, I wrote, these scenes with Percy is breaking my heart. It's so sad. And like, I said Hayes Palace is so cool, and I was like, this is just, this is probably me being paranoid from the really bad movies, but I was like, please no Persephone. Because I brought it before, which of course Hades comes, it makes a couple of jokes, but Percy is just straight to business and having none of it. And like, of course he keeps making jokes. So like, Hades shouldn't be making me laugh, but I love it. And of course, then Percy figures out, oh, this is Kronos. That's behind all of this, the person who stole the bowl, not Hades. And then, of course, during that, Percy, he realizes who it is. Then he's like, well, if Kronos is rising, stay here. I'll protect you and your mom, and just give me the bowl in return, because I want protection against Kronos. And he was like, and Percy's like, no, we're gonna leave. I'll get your help back, and then you can free my mom. And then of course they leave, and then it's cut back to Sally, and she lights a match and then puts it into, I guess, a sundae cup, whatever, and lights it. And I was like, who's she trying to talk to? Because I was confused. And then Poseidon just sort of comes in, and I'm like, which I'm not entirely sure how I feel about Percy popping in for a visit sort of thing, because like, the whole idea is that like once their kids are born, they can't really interact with them much until after they're at camp, so it's weird to me that that's happened. And then also, this whole scene is for him to explain why his mom didn't want him to go, which we already knew why in episode 5, so I don't understand why that, like, it feels redundant that we're seeing this happen. And I don't know, it felt unnecessary to me to include that. But of course, we see Percy and Grover on the beach. Annabeth is there, pulls Percy up. Then we see Ares walking towards them. I was like, Ares, fight, let's go. And then it immediately ended. I was like, no, I want to say no. But now I realize the fuck it is probably not going to last that long, given all the other fights. Because, Medusa easily finished. The Chimera, to be fair, Percy was never supposed to defeat that. So that ended early is fine, but yeah, Medusa ended quickly. There's Furies, which is a whole other issue. And of course, I think with the Minotaur, I think the Minotaur was the only longest monster fight we got in it. I honestly don't remember how long the fight scene between Clarice and Percy was. Wasn't that either? Or it might have been pretty short as well. All of the monster fights. I honestly don't remember. But yeah, hopefully this fight is isn't one and done thing and we do get a bit more fighting, that would be great. But yeah, this is so much a better step up from what episode 6 was. So hopefully season 8 ends with, sorry, not season 8, episode 8 ends off with a bang. Fingers crossed. But yeah, with that, I will see you all next week for my final review of season 1. Until then, stay smart.